What if I told you that the biggest threats to your health and independence right now are not hiding in some medical report or complicated diagnosis? They are hiding in your daily routine. The things you do every single morning, every evening, every night without even thinking about them. A major research study followed over 14,000 older adults living independently, and what they found was extraordinary. The ones who avoided these specific behaviors were 61% less likely to end up hospitalized within 5 years. And their quality of life scores matched people a full decade younger. 61%. That is not a small number. That is a complete transformation. Now I want to warn you about something before we get started. The item at number 2 on today's list is something that almost every older adult living alone does every single evening. And they have absolutely no idea it is quietly destroying their safety, their memory, and their independence. So stay with me all the way through, because that one alone could genuinely change your life. And before we dive in, drop your age in the comments right now and tell me, are you currently living alone or thinking about it? I read every single comment personally, and your responses shape everything we cover going forward. Now let us count down from 12 to 1, starting from important and ending at absolutely critical. Number 12. The first 30 minutes after you wake up may be the most biologically powerful window of your entire day, and most older adults living alone completely waste it. They walk from the bedroom to the kitchen under artificial light and never once step near a bright window or outside. Researchers at Harvard Medical School found that adults over 65 who got less than 30 minutes of natural morning light had significantly disrupted cortisol rhythms. That led to worse sleep, higher inflammation, and faster cognitive decline over a 3-year follow-up period. Here is why this hits harder as you age. After around 65, the lens of your eye yellows and thickens, meaning your eye lets in roughly 50% less light than it did when you were 40. Your brain's internal master clock, the system that controls your sleep, your hormones, your digestion, and your immune function, struggles to calibrate itself without a strong morning light signal. Think of it like a radio trying to lock onto a station with a weak signal. The programming is there, but the connection keeps cutting out. What you want to do is make morning light a non-negotiable part of your routine. Spend at least 20 to 30 minutes near a bright window. Or better yet, step outside. Pair it with your morning tea or coffee. If you live somewhere with limited winter sunlight, a 10,000 lux light therapy lamp placed at eye level during breakfast can replicate the effect beautifully. Number 11. This one sounds almost too simple to matter, but a 10-year study tracking over 3,000 adults aged 60 and older found something striking. Those who consistently ate alone in silence with no social engagement around mealtimes were 41% more likely to develop depression and showed measurably worse nutritional absorption compared to those who incorporated some form of social connection around eating, even just a phone call. The reason behind this is fascinating. Eating in a positive and engaged emotional state activates your parasympathetic nervous system, what most people call the rest and digest mode. When that system is active, your stomach produces digestive enzymes more efficiently. Your intestinal lining absorbs nutrients more readily, and your body simply gets more value from every bite. In older adults, this matters even more, because after 70, your body's ability to convert nutrients into muscle, bone, and cellular repair begins to slow down significantly. The fix is genuinely simple. Call a friend or family member during at least one meal each day. Keep a program you enjoy on in the background. Look into virtual meal sharing groups, which are widely available and often completely free through senior community centers. Number 10. A woman named Margaret, 78 years old, had lived in the same home for 41 years and never once thought of her floors or her doorway thresholds as health risks. Then one Tuesday morning, she caught her foot on the small lip between her kitchen tile and living room carpet and fractured her hip. She spent 11 weeks in rehabilitation. She told me afterward that no one had ever sat her down and treated those little strips of flooring like the life-altering hazards they truly are. The statistics are sobering. Falls, are the leading cause of both fatal and non-fatal injuries in adults over 65. 1 in 4 Americans aged 65 and older falls every year. And critically, the risk of a second fall within 6 months of the first is dramatically elevated, often because the fear of falling itself changes the way you walk and reduces physical activity. Walk through your home today with the eyes of a safety inspector. Remove or tape down every loose rug. Install grab bars beside your toilet and inside your shower. Replace round doorknobs with lever handles, which are far easier on hands affected by arthritis. Place non-slip strips at every threshold between rooms. These are not admissions of weakness. They are acts of intelligent self-preservation. Number 9. I need you to hear this clearly. Medication errors are one of the leading causes of emergency room visits among older adults living alone. Research published in a leading geriatrics journal found that nearly 40% of adults over 65 make at least one significant medication error per week, including missed doses, accidental double doses, and dangerous combinations with over-the-counter supplements. When you live alone, there is no second set of eyes, no one to notice you forgot your blood pressure pill or that you took your evening dose twice. After 65, your liver and kidneys process medications more slowly than before, which means mistakes do not just cause inconvenience, they cause disproportionately large and sometimes dangerous physiological consequences. Invest in a weekly pill organizer that separates morning and evening doses clearly. Set phone alarms with specific labels, not just generic reminders. And bring every single medication, including vitamins and herbal supplements, to your next doctor's appointment in a bag and ask for a full medication review. This review alone has been shown in multiple studies to reduce dangerous drug events by up to 35%. Number 8. This one surprises almost everyone. Many older adults living alone keep their homes warmer than is actually healthy because they feel cold more easily. And the feeling is real. After 60, your circulatory system becomes less efficient at sending warm blood to your hands and feet. But chronically overheating your living environment carries its own serious risks. Research found that adults who slept in rooms warmer than 75 degrees Fahrenheit experienced measurably worse sleep quality, reduced deep, slow-wave sleep, and elevated nighttime cortisol levels. Deep sleep is when your brain flushes out cellular waste through a system that essentially works like a cleaning cycle running overnight. If the conditions are wrong, that cleaning cycle never fully completes. And over time, that buildup of cellular waste has been linked to cognitive decline. The ideal sleeping temperature for adults over 65 is somewhere between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Use warm layered bedding rather than turning up the thermostat. Wearing warm socks to bed actually helps your body reach its optimal sleep temperature faster by helping heat move away from your core. Number 7. A man named Robert, 81 years old, was a retired engineer and extraordinarily self-sufficient. He mentioned during a consultation that he sometimes went 8 or 9 days without any physical contact with another human being. No handshakes, no hugs, no hand on the shoulder. He did not think it mattered because mentally he felt fine. But his inflammatory markers told a completely different story. The science around human touch in older adults is deeply compelling. Research from a leading touch institute found that adults over 70 who experienced regular physical contact, even non-intimate touch, like a handshake or a pat on the arm, showed significantly lower levels of cortisol and of an inflammatory protein associated with cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's disease, and accelerated cellular aging. When you live alone, you have to be intentional about this. Schedule physical social activities like gentle yoga classes or dance groups for seniors. Consider getting a pet. Multiple studies have shown that stroking a dog for just 10 minutes measurably reduces cortisol and increases oxytocin, with particularly strong effects in older adults. Number 6. Purpose is not a soft or philosophical concept. It is a measurable biological force. A landmark study followed over 1,500 adults aged 70 and older for 7 years. Those who scored highest on a standardized purpose in life scale were 2.4 times less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease, had lower rates of stroke, and lived an average of 7 years longer than those with the lowest purpose scores. 7 years longer. That is not a motivational quote, that is science. When you live alone, especially after retirement, the external structures that gave your days meaning gradually disappear. A job, a schedule, colleagues, routines built around other people. And without deliberate replacement, a slow physiological decline can follow. At a cellular level, your body responds to perceived irrelevance with elevated inflammation and reduced immune function. You must engineer purpose deliberately. Teach something, mentor someone, join a civic group, start a garden, write down your life story, volunteer at a library or a hospital. The specific content of the purpose matters far less than its consistency and depth. Number 5. A woman named Elena, 74, came in complaining of persistent fatigue, afternoon confusion, and recurring urinary tract infections. She was drinking what she thought was a reasonable amount of fluid each day, around 4 to 5 cups. But here is something most people never get told. Your thirst mechanism, the signal that tells your brain you need water, deteriorates significantly after age 60. Research published in a major nutrition journal found that older adults register thirst at a much higher level of dehydration than younger adults. Meaning, by the time you actually feel thirsty, you are already meaningfully dehydrated. Even mild dehydration of just 1 to 2% of body weight can impair cognitive function, increase fall risk, cause constipation, and accelerate kidney stress. The solution requires discipline because it runs completely against your body's signals. Aim for 8 to 9 cups of fluid per day, prioritizing water, herbal teas, and broth. Set a timer every 90 minutes as a hydration reminder. Keep a measured water bottle on your kitchen counter where you can see it, because visual cues dramatically increase how much people actually drink. And consider adding a small pinch of sea salt or an electrolyte supplement, because aging kidneys become less efficient at retaining sodium, and plain water without minerals is retained less effectively by the body. Number 4. The idea that strength training is only for athletes or young bodies is one of the most damaging myths in modern health. A major analysis reviewing 49 studies involving adults aged 65 to 90 found that progressive resistance training improved functional strength by an average of 33%, reduced fall risk by 40%, and improved markers of bone density, blood sugar regulation, and even depression. After age 50, adults lose roughly 1 to 2% of their muscle mass per year in a process called sarcopenia. After 65, that rate accelerates. And this is not just about appearance. Muscle is your metabolic engine. It is the primary site where your body absorbs glucose from your blood, meaning less muscle equals worse blood sugar control and a higher risk of diabetes. Muscle also produces anti-inflammatory compounds when it contracts that actively protect your brain, your heart, and your immune system. Resistance bands, a set of light dumbbells, and simple bodyweight movements like sitting and standing from a chair, wall push-ups, and step-ups are all you need to create meaningful results. Aim for 2 to 3 sessions per week and pair each session with a protein-rich meal within 2 hours. Because after 70, you need both the exercise and the nutritional stimulus together to get the full benefit. Number 3. A major study analyzing data from over 3.4 million people concluded that social isolation carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Not per year, per day. When you live alone and gradually stop inviting people in, stop hosting, stop making your home a place others want to visit, you begin a slow drift into social isolation that is extremely difficult to reverse once it fully takes hold. And the home itself begins to reflect and reinforce that isolation. Comfortable seating disappears. The dining table becomes a storage surface. The guest room fills with boxes. And unconsciously, the message you send both to yourself and to potential visitors is that connection is no longer expected here. Push back on this deliberately. Keep a comfortable, welcoming seating area that is always ready for company. Schedule one regular social gathering at home each month, even if it is just 2 neighbors coming over for tea. Keep your space tidy enough that you would welcome an unexpected visitor without hesitation. Not because appearances matter, but because the psychological state of being ready for connection has been shown to genuinely increase actual social engagement over time. Number two, and here it is, the one I promised you at the beginning. Most older adults living alone have made some version of the same plan. If something goes wrong, I will call for help. They have a phone, maybe a family member's number on the fridge. Maybe they have told a neighbor to check in if they do not see any movement for a while. And they believe this is a safety plan. It is not. A study from a major university followed 1,200 adults over 70 living alone for 4 years. In genuine medical emergencies, including falls, cardiac events, strokes, and sudden severe illness, the median time between the event occurring and help arriving was 4.6 hours when the plan relied on reactive communication. 4.6 hours. The treatment window for a stroke, where clot dissolving therapy can make the difference between full recovery and permanent disability, is roughly 3 hours. That gap is not a small problem. It is the difference between walking out of a hospital and never walking the same way again. Shifting your entire approach from reaction to prevention and early detection is essential. Invest in a medical alert device and actually wear it consistently, including in the shower where a disproportionate number of falls happen. Set up a daily check-in system, an app that alerts your designated contacts if you have not checked in by a certain time each morning. Tell your doctor that you live alone so that every discharge plan, every medication instruction, and every follow-up protocol is calibrated for someone without in-home support. And have a detailed, honest conversation with at least 2 people in your life about exactly what to do, step by step, if you ever become unreachable. This is not pessimism. This is the foundation of genuine freedom. Building your safety architecture is precisely what allows you to live confidently and independently because you know the net is in place. Number 1. Of everything on this list, the research behind number 1 is both the most breathtaking and the most hopeful. A study took adults aged 60 to 90 and divided them into groups. One group learned a completely new cognitively demanding skill like digital photography, quilting, or a musical instrument. A second group engaged in familiar, comfortable activities like reading or doing crossword puzzles. A third group participated in social activities. After just 3 months, the group learning genuinely new skills showed improvements in memory so significant that the researchers initially questioned their own results. They repeated the study and found the exact same thing. The biological reason is this: your brain maintains the ability to form new neural connections far longer than scientists once believed, but it requires real challenge to do so. Familiar activities, even mentally engaging ones like crosswords, operate along pathways your brain already built long ago. They are like driving a road you have driven 1,000 times. Genuinely new skills force your brain to build entirely new roads. And in that construction, something remarkable happens. The hippocampus, your brain's memory center, which begins shrinking at roughly 1 to 2% per year after 60, actually shows measurable preservation and in some cases growth in response to novel learning. A man named James, 83 years old, started learning conversational Spanish at 79 because his granddaughter was studying abroad. He later said that his memory for names, which had been slipping for years, noticeably sharpened. His sleep improved, and for the first time in years, he genuinely looked forward to mornings. That is what novelty does. It does not just protect the brain, it restores a sense of aliveness and forward momentum that no supplement or medication can replicate. Learn a language using a free app. Take an online cooking class in a cuisine completely new to you. Pick up a ukulele. Try watercolor painting. Sign up for a beginner class in something that makes you slightly nervous because you have never done it before. That nervousness is real. It is the sensation of new neural pathways forming. Here is what I want to leave you with. Living alone does not have to mean living diminished. Every single thing on this list today was not a warning about inevitable decline. It was a map, a specific, evidence-based, actionable map of changes that can compound over months and years into a life that is genuinely richer, safer, sharper, and more connected than you may have thought possible. Adults in their 80s and 90s who begin strength training build measurable muscle. Adults who embrace novel learning show brain changes within weeks. Adults who build better safety systems experience genuinely better health outcomes, not eventually, but soon. Your independence is not something that simply fades with age. It is something you can build, protect, and defend with the right knowledge and intention. If this added real value to your day, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss what we release each week. And tell me in the comments, which of these 12 surprised you most? And which one are you starting first? I will be reading every single response.